What's going on, everybody? Fuck. Oh my god, dude. I don't know why Restream can't fucking let you pop out chat in the fucking window. It's so annoying. Okay, I guess that's the best it's gonna be. You're gonna do 52 sets for calves? That's actually a good idea.
He hasn't changed. Hello, comrades. I recently wrapped up a video series covering the worst political streamer, Hassan Piker. And whenever I wrap up a series like this, I like to do a bit of a retrospective to see if anything has changed. And when it comes to our favorite lolcow Hassan, no, he hasn't changed anything despite getting massive pushback from outsiders as well as his own fans. In fact, he's done the exact same things just this past week. So I'm going to play Professor Willy and I'm going to test Hassan to see if he's improved on any of the things I've criticized him for. It's only 3 questions. Does he react to content fairly now? Has he covered news stories accurately? And has he become a little bit more self-aware? When it comes to him not abiding by fair use laws, stealing content, it's the same old story. He gets up and leaves mid-video, letting it play to the finish while he's not even there. People were originally angry with me that I didn't use enough new examples of Hassan getting up while the video was still playing. Well, to the surprise of only Hassan.
Donate Tillers, what do you think of Patrick Babumian's game? Will he play it, or does it look like shit? What's even the premise of it? It's very early in development. Like, it's not even in the alpha build stage. So, yeah, it's gonna look rough. I think it needs some more unique gameplay mechanics for it to really be a good game. But again, it's super early on in development, so. And basic idea is you're liberating animals. Like, that's it. That's why the game is called Uncaged. Thanks for the donation, though, Diet.
Hi VG. I hope that you are great tonight. I love this savage response from Newsom in his recent debate. Lol, skip to 1822. Also, did you hear that George Santos was expelled from Congress today? Fuck that pos criminal.
I did hear about that. Let me see.
The time. Let me just.
I do have a follow-up. I do have a follow-up question.
Ron,
in California.
Ron, I'm happy that you continue to talk. Let's talk a little bit about Bidenomics, because I'm happy to take that on right now as well. And I think it's
You're
a fair
a big
point.
supporter of it. I appreciate you acknowledging
14 million jobs, 10 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined.
Because he had
815,000 manufacturing
the
jobs.
jobs were because of the COVID lockdowns. Are you kidding me?
3.9% unemployment. As he continues to talk over me, I'll talk to the American people. 3.9% unemployment, the lowest black unemployment in American history, the lowest unemployment for Hispanics in American history, the lowest unemployment for women in 70 years, the lowest black poverty rates in history. That's this administration's agenda. And by the way, as you smile and smirk over there, you should know this, the American people. Here's Here's a guy who celebrated Bidenomics just this week, celebrating $28 million that came into your state because of the CHIPS and Science Act, one of the most significant economic plans since FDR. I'm proud of the work.
Bend over to Taylor. Skip to 1822 in that clip sent you regarding Newsom. Oh, okay, sorry. Why is he doing that, like, weird, awkward smile? Play the clip.
And in other words, it's the toughest job in the world. Is Joe Biden experiencing this cognitive decline? Is it a danger to the country? Do you find when he speaks, what is your reaction to it?
Yes, he's in decline. Yes, it's a danger to the country. He has no business running for president. And, you know, Gavin Newsom agrees with that. He won't say that. That's why he's running his shadow campaign. He should not be running. He is not up to the job. And it is dangerous for this country.
Well, I will take Joe Biden at 100 versus Ron DeSantis any day of the week at any age. In fact, all of the folks
you think he's up to the job? You think he's 100%?
I've been spending
100%?
plenty of time with Joe
100%?
Biden in
Okay.
private and
Let him
public.
answer.
You don't know. And by the way, results matter. Inflation now is down to 3.2%. Wages are up to 4.4%. The economy is booming, 5.2% GDP growth in the last quarter. Those are facts you don't hear on Fox News. 14 million jobs, 10 times
Let me
more than the
move
last
on. That
three.
was the light.
And there you have it.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Thanks, Ben. I can't progress anymore in the bench press. Should I switch to incline bench for a month? No. You can include incline bench, but could be a number of reasons why you've stalled on the bench. I would just choose a different flat pressing variation rather than just not do flat benching anymore.
Hassan fans, he has done this every single day since my video has come out. Not once did he pause the video when he left. He always unpauses it.
He's great, in other words. So, he won a huge victory yesterday in Argentina's presidential election.
It doesn't matter if he's reacting to the news or other people's YouTube videos. He's not putting
Dodo Night Tellers, can you watch and give your thoughts?
Welcome back to the comment section. I'm Brett Cooper. So obviously, guys, with everything happening in the world on a daily basis, all the noise, all the chaos, all the tyrants, we cover a lot of negative things on this show. But today, we're going to be talking about something positive that I've been seeing on TikTok, and it is called HopeCore. And these types of videos have been around for a while, but it seems like now they are even more prevalent, and I think that is an incredibly good thing. And we're going to talk about that today. Before we do, though,
Bigo, don't tell you sound insanely depressed today. How are you feeling? New meds working. Also, what's your weight, fitness goals right now? I am feeling pretty depressed right now. Don't particularly know why. It's just a bad day.
If you didn't catch the jab, the Newsom versus DeSantis debate was broadcasted on Fox News, and Newsom jabbed at the network when he said these are number that you don't hear from Fox News. After that, I bursted out laughing when I initially heard it. Lol.
I don't find that particularly funny, but whatever. Thanks for the donation, Ben. So as far as fitness goals, I'm thinking of doing another run up to 405 for bench. I'm going to stay at relatively the same body weight, but I'm going to first try to accumulate up to 315 for a set of 8 to 10. And then from there, just start doing sets of 5s and 3s and work my way up to a 405 for a single. Thanks for the donation, Figo.
make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a comment section or off the clock episode. Okay, so as I have been scrolling on TikTok recently, as I do, a public service trying to find content for you guys, I have seen just an influx in motivational compilation videos that are really, really positive and uplifting. And no, I do not mean the Andrew Tate fanboy edits, even though those circulate as well. This is just like a totally different genre of motivational uplifting videos. These are just people giving good life advice with some empowering, rousing music behind it, and they are blowing up. Seriously blowing up. Let's just watch one of these.
One day or day one?
One day or day one. One day or day one.
You can't wait for everything to be perfect
I love that Theo is in here.
to start living your life.
Everything takes time.
Can't watch that fucking garbage.
Putting in the minimum effort when it comes to properly following copyright law. His own fans are making fun of him, saying chair camp, calling everyone a horrible person who calls him out for it.
Chair camp. I love seeing chair. There's gonna be a lot of like weird trolls that come in here today and just like repeat stuff that I've said as though it's an own, because they're just objectively bad people in general.
Failed, but I'm sure he'll pass the next question.
Oh my god, he's crying! What a bitch!
This guy's insane. Almost as insane as being able to turn your room into a planetarium. It's Cyber Week, and that means it's the best time of year for shopping online. And I just found
My family keeps trying to tell me that I should be more moderate in my approach to spreading the vegan message. I told them if they need a more moderate approach, then they can hear it from someone else. The message needs to be spread in a diverse manner. Men praising themselves again. I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Yeah, sure, Dodo. Thanks for the donation. I am really not feeling well. Holy fuck, I'm not feeling well. Yeah, anyway, thanks for the donation, Dreamsation. I'd just say do vegan activism however you want.
found the gem of a lifetime. It's the Galaxy Projector 2.0 lamp, turning any space into outer space. My favorite use for it is on those late night gaming sessions where you could just immerse yourself, losing track of time. And it's very customizable all through their app, able to adjust the color, the speed, the brightness of the stars. And it's smart too, able to hook up to Amazon Alexa or crap if you want. Be sure to go to
So hard to be an ally sometimes.
Hassan and I's debates centered around his poor news coverage where he jumps wildly to conclusions before getting the full story, and then never apologizing or correcting the story when he's wrong. Instead, he shifts the goalpost. He's done this multiple times with Ukraine, Iran, Israel. I've uploaded 2 other videos covering this in detail if you want to catch up. Point is, he's done it again. He couldn't go 1 week without misreporting a story. On Twitter, a video went viral, 8 million.
I mean, really, how much worse can this world get?
I don't know, Dodo, but I keep being surprised. Thanks for the donation, dude.
Views, showing a Palestinian kid get yelled at by Israeli police. The tweet was captioned, Ahmad was kidnapped 8 years ago when he was only 13 years old. This leaked video shows Israeli officers interrogating him. This is how Israelis treat Palestinian children. Israel kidnapped over 880 Palestinian children in 2023 only. Hassan would immediately quote tweet this saying, indefensible monsters, getting another 5 million views and over 75,000 likes. Now Hassan just made it seem like Israel kidnapped this kid for no reason. They're monsters. But if you just take 2 seconds and Google his name, you'll see that he was running around holding knives with his 15-year-old cousin. His cousin stabbed a 13-year-old Israeli boy and another 21-year-old before getting shot by a dude he also tried to stab. The boy in the video was then stopped after getting hit by a car. That is not the same as this kid getting kidnapped by the IDF. He was arrested and convicted for attempted murder. He's on video doing it. Hassan.
Yeah, that context kind of changes things, doesn't it?
doesn't care to add any of that crucial context because the truth does not matter to him. May I remind you, this is the same guy who says he does a better job at reporting than most news outlets.
I am not held up by the same journalistic standards, even though I think I do a much better job than most other news outlets in general.
I responded to him with, amazing journalism, Hassan, and his response.
What do I think of Alan Wake 2? It's a really good game. It's not like Resident Evil 4, so the actual gameplay isn't quite as tight, like in terms of shooting, but the actual level design, the story, and some of the other mechanics are really good.
Response to me is exactly what I've been criticizing him for. He demonizes me, moves the goalpost, and then continues to get the story wrong. You think it's okay to torture and extract a confession out of a 13-year-old? You depraved freak? He's making it sound.
Fugo Donate Tillers, didn't realize rapper Ice Cube was this retarded.
You turned down a $9 million movie role in 2021 because you wouldn't take the COVID vaccine as being mandated in Hollywood at the time. Any regrets? It's a lot of money.
Not at all. Not one regret.
You know my thought when I heard that story? You must be even richer than I think you are.
I mean, everybody can use.
You're right, it can get worse.
Yeah, that's retarded. That's super retarded.
$9 million. I don't care how rich they think they are. You know, everybody can use that money. I could have used that money. My family could have used that money. But I felt like, you know, your health is worth more than all the money in the world.
Right, so that's why you didn't take a vaccine, because your health matters. That makes sense.
Because if you had all the money in the world and you wasn't healthy, you would use that money to get healthy. To me, it was an experimental drug. They had no time to really see the long-term effect.
Well, we already know why this is dumb. Let me see, Dodo.
The ceasefire is over. In Gaza, war again rages, and with it, destruction, despair, and death. We were collecting water to wash our clothes as the bombing started, says Omar Harouz in southern Gaza. He can't find his family. Among the dozens of dead in just the first hours, according to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry, many are women and children.
Yes, tragically, the violence has begun again. The death and destruction has begun again. 7 days of a temporary truce that, man, it really doesn't feel like it's been 7 days. That passed fast. I imagine for those desperately trying to survive in Gaza, it passed much faster. But the attacks by the IDF on Gaza have begun again. And we want to give you more information about what's been going on. Take a look at this.
Smoke billowing from buildings, streets strewn with rubble. The shelling centered on southern Gaza. Israel dropping these leaflets urging residents to flee even further south, warning that certain areas civilians had been told to go are now no longer safe. Overnight, we pressed the IDF on that.
So you're saying that southern Gaza could look like northern Gaza?
I'm saying that if Hamas is in southern Gaza, we have no choice but to go after Hamas where they are located.
Hospitals in Gaza again filling with the wounded, brought in on ambulance and donkey cart. The UN saying around 1.8 million Palestinians have been displaced, and even with some aid coming in, the World Food Program warning families are on the edge of starvation.
So you see there, yes, the bombing has begun again, including in areas that previously civilians in the more northern portions of Gaza had been told to flee to. Just a reminder that anytime you hear the term safe zones, the word temporary should be added, hopefully by the media, but if not, then by the person receiving the message. Both sides, as is always the case, are blaming the other side for the truce being broken. Israeli government spokesperson accused Hamas of failing to provide a list of more hostages for release. Effectively, days of ceasefire had been bought by more hostages being released by Hamas.
Yeah, didn't they violate the hostage agreement? And I don't know about the rockets, but I heard they violated the hostage agreement. Anyway, whatever. Hopefully they blow up more of those fucks.
Sound like I love torturing kids. The torture Hassan is referring to is the cops threatening and insulting the kid.
I'm gay and want to debate you. I will win because I'm better than you. I'm in the chat. Drop the link. Did Destiny get back to you about the MVP Aaron P? I love all you Ali Blue Vegan.
So somebody wants to debate me on nutrition? So Destiny told me to message Karantos, and I messaged Karantos. I don't know if he said anything yet. No. So yeah, I did message Q. Alright, there you go. Join the Discord then.
How about a little Tofana cringe marathon, old but gold?
I don't think we're gonna do that.
Got my own flow and I'm about to get a patent. Brand new sheets for the bed they satin. Y'all wasn't tuned in back then. My swag they keep jacking. I ain't doing no verse, quit asking. What's pop?
Why the fuck did he upload this?
Hey, so you bagged him. I'm a savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet. Sassy, moody, nasty. Hacking.
These are really bad. Okay, this one doesn't seem to work.
Oh my God, what's going on? First, Frank is drinking beer.
Yeah, the tattoo video.
Way too high in fat.
Whatever.
The interrogation. It's in his own linked source. As for the extracted confession, again, he did do it. It's on camera. Hassan continues, do you know anything about this case? He was run over by a car before this. No, he was run over by a car after he was an accomplice in stabbing 2 people. You don't know anything about this case. He then says his 15
My God, VG question between the Hamas supporters, the Trump supporters, and all this straight up facsim. How much worse can this world possibly get?
I don't know, Dodo, but apparently it can get somewhat worse. Thanks for the donation, dude.
15-year-old cousin who stabbed 2 people was shot dead on the spot. But again, if you just watch the video, the 15-year-old ran at and tried to stab a 3rd person who then shot him. I would show you the video, but YouTube won't allow it. It is easy enough to Google for yourself. Not a single sentence of this tweet was right. Hassan would then go on stream and rewrite history, framing everyone as toddler murderers.
What's important here is to understand that the position that they're taking is to violently torture toddlers for crimes.
13 is not a toddler.
That they are either suspected of doing or sometimes openly.
Dude, you know, it's so bullshit when people infantilize children like this. When I was about 9 years old, I almost killed another kid. And I knew what I was doing. I knew that I was trying to, like, kill that kid. So, like, this idea that a fucking 13-year-old, oh, he's just a child, he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, no, by the time you're 13... you know what the fuck you're doing. Like, give me a fucking break. As if screaming at a 13-year-old who tried to commit fucking a mass killing with a knife is some sort of tragedy.
Not even convicted of doing.
This guy is talking about Ahmed, who is convicted and guilty on every level. But if you believe that objective truth, you're a toddler murderer.
Your expectation should not be that, like, these are perfect victims. Your expectation should be to abide by at least some standards that show a semblance of morality when incarcerating a fucking 13-year-old, okay? In that situation, the 13-year-old with the knife is not the animal. The whole-ass adult and the entire structure that imprisoned him and placed him in solitary confinement and broke him and developed where he developed schizophrenia, that is the animalistic, barbaric structure, okay? A 13-year-old is innocent, man. Fucking ridiculous.
I don't get how he's victimizing this kid. 13-year-olds can and do commit crimes. In the United States, we have 13-year-olds that have served life sentences for attempted murder. Same charge.
And I don't know what this dude's like personal politics are, but I don't think he's like anti-Palestinian. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. But it is very shocking to me that like these guys will literally take any position they can because they probably think I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You don't.
And this makes it seem like Ahmad Manazra was like completely living his life and then that was just like ripped off the streets or something. I guess that's the reason.
Oh my god, he's learning. Yes, you misreported the story. That's the point. He's finally getting it. Progress.
I suspect he didn't fucking know that
Whenever I see people holding up dead deer from stupid deer hunting Facebook pages, I usually comment saying, somebody should do that to him or her, then I get death threats from them or their family. Ha ha ha, I don't care. Fuck these weak-ass murders. Also, a 13-year-old is not a child.
Well, 13-year-old is a child. Just not a particularly young child. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Yeah, fucking hunters are always massive fucking pussies, dude. I had to leave a bunch of Facebook pages because there's hunters in, like, motorcycle groups. And they'd post, like, fucking photos of them with dead animals. And, yeah, every time I'd be like, yeah, what if I did that to you? Or what if somebody did that to a dog? They just start crying and fucking complaining like crazy. Thanks for the donation, though, Vegan Ninja.
Full details and saw something on Reddit and thought, oh, this is a good opportunity to strike.
You don't know the full details.
Without, like, reading up on it again. Or even if now he's read up on it, he probably can still try and justify it by being like, look at the video, he's running around with a knife. A 13-year-old, under no circumstances, should be put under this condition, okay? There's no world in which this is appropriate or acceptable.
If he wants to have the opinion that you shouldn't be able to imprison 13-year-olds, okay, fine. But just look at how he shifted the goalpost throughout this entire conversation. It starts off with the IDF are monsters for kidnapping this 13-year-old for no reason. When called out, he demonizes me by implying that I like it when 13-year-olds get tortured. He then says the cousin was shot on the spot, leaving out the details that he was trying to stab a third person. He then calls everyone toddler murderers for thinking these kids are guilty, which they are.
The position that they're taking is to violently torture toddlers.
And then when he finally gets on stream, the argument becomes, well, they did do it, but 13-year-olds shouldn't serve 9 years. Oh, and Willie's a drama farmer, so it doesn't matter if I'm wrong.
The reason why I'm bringing this up, though, is because while this dipshit doesn't have any real politics associated with it and is just simply trying to drama bait and drama farm, there are, however, plenty of people who do legitimately have a political ideological position.
Hold on, if you actually cared about any of the news you covered, you would get it right the first time. You wouldn't leave out all these crucial details. Don't pretend like you care when you really don't. Hassan admitting he's a propagandist isn't a meme at this point, because that's what he's actually doing, misrepresenting stories to support his worldview.
Just like I do propaganda.
I'm a propagandist.
Well, no,
for the record.
But Hassan doesn't only get geopolitical news wrong, he's so incompetent he can't even get YouTube drama right. Let's detour. Pokimane came under fire when she launched her newly made Mina cookies. This happened because she acted like she was in a lab crafting these for 2 years.
I'm so excited that I finally can. Like, I can't believe I'm uttering these words. I have been working on launching a brand slash company slash product for the last 2 years. Imagine 2 years of not being able to share that.
When in reality,
I don't know how she has any kind of fan base. You can just tell she's a massive fucking lying scumbag.
Is the exact same ingredients as another brand, showing that it was most likely a white labeled product. She also marketed it as a health food because there is extra vitamin D, but there is nowhere near enough vitamin D to supplement a vitamin deficiency like she claims.
Like, it was just an idea in my mind. I had no idea if it was possible, but she made it happen. We have infused vitamin D. If you are like me, you might have a vitamin D deficiency. I know I have for a very long time. Anytime I get my blood work done, that's always top of the list. I'm always trying to take vitamin D supplements. The fact that we can make a delicious, healthy snack and it has functional benefits like vitamin D,
And by the way, the nutritional facts, these are the exact same cookies.
Yeah. Something isn't healthy because it has 15% the RDA for vitamin D.
The only difference is 3 micrograms of vitamin D. Now this is where I get a little bit upset. You have to eat 7 cookies to get 120 IUs of vitamin D every single day. In my opinion, that is not an efficacious dose of vitamin D, and therefore it should not be used to market product.
Pokimane would sell these in packs of 4 for $28, breaking down to $7 a pack, which I think is a pretty hefty price for repackaged cookies, but Pokey would laugh at everyone for saying so.
Like, oh my god, $28 for cookies? It's 4 bags. That's $7 a bag. I know math is hard when you're an idiot, but like, if you're a broke boy, just say so.
Which is a hilarious response since she said this in her launch video.
I don't really come out with many things. I haven't even had merch in like years. I don't want you guys spending your money on something unless it's really, really worth your money. I don't like to promote very many things for that reason. So I really hope it's something that you guys will love just as much as I love it.
They don't.
She would also be called a hypocrite because she criticized creators in the past for using the same rhetoric. Invader V called her viewers broke for not subbing to her for $5.
Doesn't matter how broke you are. If you have time to watch Twitch, you have $10, truly. If you don't have $10, you probably don't have time to watch Twitch because you should be working. You should be trying to earn money. It's not a ton. It's not like a ton of money.
Pokey would reply, if $5 is an irrelevant amount of money, then she shouldn't need the $5 from your subscription. If she argues that it adds up when multiple people give her $5, then she should realize it works the same way when it comes to saving. Get these shitty takes off of my timeline and off of my streaming platform. Pokey is objectively wrong in this situation. She's falsely advertised the product in multiple ways, she's charging a lot of money for it, and she's hypocritically calling her audience broke for not buying it.
What are the ingredients? Yeah, whatever.
Away. Charlie made a video saying pretty much the exact same thing I told you, and Hassan, while reacting to it, implied that you would only have that opinion because she's a woman. But first, of course, he has to leave while the video is still playing.
The chance that you have... My brain is scrambled. What happened?
So after missing all the context of Charlie's video, he comes back and says this, when Pokey calls everyone broke.
The big mistake here is that she thought that she could be a woman.
Fuck man, everything sucks. Took my cat to a vet and they found late-stage cancer. They could try to do surgery but 3 different vets said that she's too old, almost 16, and will not survive surgery. When it gets too bad I need to take her to be euthanized.
Well, that sucks, dude. Well, that's life. We're all going to have to die eventually. Fortunately, that includes our cats. But thanks for the donation, Proud Lolicon.
Woman online, and then also come across as not super serious in this very important moment. Even if you're fucking joking, even if you're fucking making a meme like, oh, broke boys or whatever, one that I've made a million times over. Tensions are high. People are looking for drama. They're gonna fucking cut this as though you are 100% genuine and you're going, yeah, you're poor shaming.
She's not joking. She's unironically mad that people have a problem with the price tag. If you watch the full context of her stream, it's clear she's not joking, but it's Hassan. Zero research Hassan. Just makes things up.
This is literally a core joke to XQC's entire platform. Exactly. Here's who's doing it. Pokimane. She's not allowed to do it. I'm gonna get mad now. The other thing about how unhinged haters are in this case is how I doubt that the deep dive in the cookies would have been even happening if it was a different content creator doing it. No, exactly. That's the point.
Hassan's
Ellen Witsius donated $2. When did your poopy mood start today and anything trigger it? As soon as I woke up, was not feeling good. So yeah. Thanks for the donation though, Alan.
saying XQC would get away with this again just shows how much he talks out of his ass. Charlie would debunk Hassan's point immediately on stream.
Hassan said if XQC said that to his community was broke, nobody would say a thing, so Pokey is a victim, I guess. Did Hassan really say that? Because every time XQC brings up money, Twitter eats him alive the same way, if not worse than Pokey.
Charlie's 100% right here. XQC gets grilled constantly for bringing up money. It's ridiculous to imply sexism is at play when it comes to Pokey. Hassan's ignorance on this topic can be summed up with one clip.
I think this whole, look, her own community has brought up valid concerns about the cookie gate and the cookie prices, and she's yelling at them is silly. That's not what happened.
Then what happened?
I don't even know what happened, but I know that's not what happened.
Cool. On-the-ground journalist Hassan Piker at work. This is the same criticism I brought up to Hassan in our debate.
You not watching my videos is the same level of reporting that you give Israel and Gaza. It's the same level of reporting that you give Ukraine.
I'm gonna
Ass, you say? I wish there was some good butts to look at.
be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you think
minimum effort in and just
you are revealing, you're revealing how stupid you are by claiming that watching a fucking YouTube video is the same as like reading news reports and talking to on-the-ground journalists and forensic analysts.
No, I'm not. I'm saying you won't even do the bare minimum, and you won't even do it for a drama video.
I'm losing my fucking mind.
If Hassan can't accurately navigate a simple and straightforward drama about cookies, do you think he's capable of navigating these complex geopolitical issues? No, of course not. He's making stuff up all the same. And since it's about breaking news, his misreporting leads to people getting radicalized, and him labeling people as drama farmers who correct them. It's embarrassing.
It's shocking, I guess, more so to me that this is like a farming operation that works.
When he says this, he's just self-reporting as a full-on lolcow. If you want people to stop farming you, you have to stop misreporting stories. You have all the power in this situation, but he can't because he's unaware of his lolcow ways. Fresh milk from Willie's Drama Farm in Piker City, USA. Buy a hat. It's a real hat at williemaxshop.com. Link in the description. Comes with extra vitamin D. I give it an A+. There is just zero accountability with this guy when it comes to covering the news. Hassan Piker, F.
Illegal drugs.
Dude, this guy is such a fucking idiot, dude. One, you're black.
Hassan has been misreporting stories going on 2 years now, and his Twitch audience has been dwindling because of it. And due to his demonization of other people for having different points of view, he lost his biggest avenue to new viewers, being the Leftover podcast.
People are saying rip leftovers. Yeah, probably. The whole fucking thing was such a disappointing, horrible experience, how it ended. I just know the stuff that people were saying about me was just bananas. Yeah, I don't know. Not worth it. It's just not worth it.
He's now had so many streamers and YouTubers laugh at his poor coverage that his number is only going to keep dropping. And he's so desperate that he's resorting to criticizing his competitors for not jumping to conclusions.
Every time I see clips of Destiny, it's always like very confident, but also confidently unsure. But because he's like channeling State Department propaganda, it oftentimes is just left unnoticed. Like people don't look at it and go, wait, what do you mean? You're not really sure? Okay, well, how about you get sure?
Bro, I wish you were more unsure. The problem is you are way too sure. Hassan is so painfully unaware that he does this.
I think I have the exact opposite problem where I am grossly aware of the lack of knowledge that I have on a particular matter because there's so much. Always, there's so much more to learn. So I don't have that same level of confidence. IDF didn't bomb the hospital? Yes, it did! Yes, it did! Attack on U.S. consulate in Iran happening now? False flag. 100%. MEK, false flag. When I say MEK, I just mean CIA.
Very long. Hello YouTube, and welcome to a new episode of the Fake Merc Character Study. If you clicked on this without knowing who the person on the thumbnail is, his name is Jason Bloblo, and he's one of the worst person to ever post his face on the internet. I've made many episodes about how much of a fucking idiot and failure he is, which are hilarious roasts, and you can access them all in the description. But for the vast majority of you, I think you already know who Jason is, so you are in for a treat because, as you might or might not know, Jason, recently called me out for being a Nazi, a racist, and a white supremacist. All of this, of course, without any proof. The issue for him is that, sadly, proof exists about him being all of these things, because once again he accuses other people of what he does. So, as I promised a long time ago, it was almost a prophecy of sorts, I'm going to make a video detailing all of the racist things that Jason Bloblo has ever said and done on the internet. And it's going to be quite long. There's a lot of things to get into, to the point that I'm not going to even mention the fact that he called for the death of Muslims in the US, that he called for the death of Latinos in the US. All of that I covered in the previous episode. You can also find in the description. Now, today I'm going to focus on brand new stuff that you've never heard before. And that leaves us with a ton of horrible statements he made about Asians, about black people, and about Native Americans, which are all compiled in a single document that I've recently uncovered, a white supremacist pamphlet that Jason Blaha wrote many years ago, which contains some of the most racist statements I've ever read in my life. So if you thought Blaha was a bad person before, you are in for a big shock, to the point that I actually recommend you skip this video if you are sensitive, because I'm going to try and make it funny. I'm going to include some roasts, but the document in itself is highly disturbing, so be warned. But before we do that, before we get into all of the racist things he has said in the past, I need to start with something else. And that something is to defend the honor of a man that I deeply respect, namely Alan Throw. You see, Blaha, being the piece of shit that he is incapable of attacking me directly because he has no ammunition. So what he does is, he attacks the people who I'm friends with, who I work with. So what he did recently is that, being the vile creature that he is, he questioned Alan's honor as a Marine, because yes, Alan served in the Marines, he was a military member. Because apparently, since I'm a bad person and a Nazi, it makes Alan a Nazi because he associates with me. And since we all know that Alan has better things to do than to deal with the horrible person and the gremlin that Blaha is, I'm going to have to do the honors. So what we're going to do is very simple. I'm going to list the life accomplishments of both of these individuals, and we're going to see who the best person is. Because in his video again, Jason states that Alan is a piece of shit. He tells him to go fuck himself. He says, fuck you, Alan, because apparently he's such a bad person. Okay, let's see who the bad person is. Keep in mind that every time we've played this game of comparison, Blaha lost. He's 0 to 10. He loses to everyone. He even lost to fucking Genova. Jason Genova has a better life than Jason Blaha. But let's see, maybe this time it will be different. Maybe it will start a legacy of winning in the Blaha household. So, let's begin with Blaha. All of this is, of course, objective. It's just an objective retelling of their lives. Blaha, Jason Blaha, was born in an upper-class family, and yet he somehow barely managed to get his high school diploma. He flunked out of community college. He then got arrested for illegal possession of firearms, at which point he was described by the judge as having the intelligence of a toddler. He then got hired by his father's company as a grunt, meaning that he was moving shit from point A to point B, and that also points to him being a Nepo baby. He couldn't even get that level of job, that entry-level job, without the help of his dad, and yet he still managed to fuck that up because he got fired from that job. How do you get fired from a company that your dad owns? How is that even possible? I don't know, but he managed. He then spent his days just shitposting on bodybuilding forums and taking drugs, and where he would discuss enlightening topics such as how much he loves to put dildos up his ass. Again, it's not a claim, we have screenshots, he actually said this. He also used to LARP as a reptilian overlord. Apparently he came from a family of people who were like into satanic rituals. Apparently he thinks it makes him look cool, which at some point allowed him to meet a woman online who decided that she wanted to get married with him, which shows that there is hope for everyone. If this guy managed to get a lady on that type of forum, you can get laid.
Yeah, I think his first wife, they met on a David Icke forum and they bonded over like this belief that reptilian overlords are running the planet.
As well. He then left the US because a woman wanted his ass, so of course he took that chance and he moved to the UK, where he immediately started to rely on his wife by playing World of Warcraft all day, every day, leaving her to make all of the money because he made no money whatsoever, and also to take care of the house. So she was a nurse, she would come home and then do the dishes and cook because he would just stay in bed all day, play World of Warcraft, get fat and be lazy. And he got away with this by claiming to be handicapped. So he lied about having a handicap.
Yeah, Meniere's disease. What's funny is Meniere's disease is the disease that everybody uses when they don't actually have a disability, because it's basically impossible to diagnose. You're relying entirely on self-reported symptoms. So a disease where you're relying entirely on self-reported symptoms, that means it's easy to just get diagnosed with it by a doctor because they have to just rely on, self-reported symptoms. There's no other diagnostic criteria.
For many years, and he still does to this day. He then started a YouTube channel where he claimed to be an ex-mercenary member who worked for the Clinton government and executed people down in South America, which of course was untrue, and this has a name. It's called stolen valor, which of course he got in trouble for. People called him out for it. Veterans were extremely mad, and then when he got called out for that, he threatened to kill veterans. He also started to lie about other people in the fitness industry, which eventually got him sued by Lane Norton, at which point he fled the UK like a coward because he didn't want to go to jail or to go to prison. And thankfully for him, because he had no money to his name, the UK government couldn't seize anything because you cannot touch welfare checks. After this, once he was back in the US, he continued making shitty-ass videos that no one gave a fuck about. He started a relationship with a meth addict, who also happened to be an ex-stripper, so quite the winner of a woman who refused to have a kid with him because she didn't want to have his genetics. Thank fucking God for that. And eventually even that low-grade woman left his ass. He now shares a flat with a roommate at the ripe age of 45, doesn't even own a fucking car and has not a penny to his name. He's childless, he's unmarried, his entire family hates his fucking guts. He was disowned by everyone, and he is a laughingstock for the entire fitness community. He's been lifting for the past 20 years, but looks like your average fat guy, has a pathetic 1,300 total. Again, for 20 years of powerlifting, that's really fucking bad. Teenagers get these numbers at 18, 19 after 2 years of lifting. Being in mind also that he is on drugs to accomplish all of this. These are numbers on fucking drugs and fat. That's mind-blowing. It's almost an accomplishment in itself, and he also hasn't made any progress in 10 years. If you don't believe me, go check out his total from 10 years ago, 2014. It was the same, 1,300. So, a pretty dire, pretty grim picture of a man. Let's compare that with Alan Throw. Alan Throw was born in a working-class family. He got into community college, but decided to enlist in the Marines Corps. He got selected for presidential support duty, which requires a top-class PFT score. It's the score that judges how athletic you are, how far you can run, how long you can hold a plank, how many pull-ups you can do, etc. You also need an above-average ASVAB and GT scores, which are the scores that test your ability to do math, to understand language, etc., etc., as well as pass a security clearance, meaning that if you have a criminal record, you're out. You cannot do that job. So if we look at those three things, PFT score, being able to run, Blaha would fail. He cannot run to save his life. Being able to do math, being able to understand text. Blaha barely speaks English. That's his one language and he sucks at it. And then security clearance, Blaha was arrested for illegal possession of firearm, which explains why, unlike Alan, who actually was a soldier, who actually was on duty, Blaha himself LARPed as a soldier and lied and committed stolen valor, because it's much easier than actually putting in the work and serving your country honorably. Then, after a successful boot camp, Alan was sent to Washington, D.C. on security duty, at which point he met President Obama. Very impressive. President Obama, who, might I remind you, was called by Blaha a Muslim and a terrorist because he happens to be black. Things to remember. After this, Alan joined the Marine Corps Body Bears, a small group of Marines who have the honor of performing funerals and carrying the caskets of fallen Marines, and that is quite honorable indeed. Meanwhile, Blaha was threatening to kill veterans who called him out on his stolen valor. You see the difference between the two? Then after serving his country, Alan opened his own gym, starting from scratch, with no help whatsoever, and with no money, so he's not a Nepo baby, unlike Blaha. He also opened a YouTube channel, and over time, with hard work, he managed to make both a success because now he has a YouTube channel that has close to 1 million subscribers. He owns Untamed Strength, which is one of the biggest gyms in Sacramento, and he is widely beloved by everyone because he is kind, he is very supportive, he has a helpful attitude towards everyone, so of course, naturally, everyone in the fitness community adores him. He also has a 350 bench, or at least had in the past a 350 bench, a 5-plate squat, and a 600 pounds deadlift. All of that while staying perfectly natural, without any drugs, and without looking like a grotesque pig. He actually looked good doing it. He also won several strongman competitions, he got really good at running, and he has recently transitioned to bodybuilding, and he boasts an excellent physique. He has a six-pack, he has round shoulders, he has veins everywhere, so he did well in every single physical endeavor he ever partook in. He is also the father of 2 beautiful children and has a wonderful wife with which he lives in a big house that he owns. His parents and his friends are all very proud of him. So if you compare the two, I think it's clear to see who the roach is, who the bad person is. So at the end of the day, no, Blaha, fuck you. The fact that you even dare call out Alan, even mutter his fucking name, is the sign of your delusion and lack of self-awareness. You're worth less than the dirt under Alan's shoes, that is for sure. And if we live in a just and honest society, for this transgression, for this crime,
I just gotta pick up food at the door. Be right back.
Hey, Prim. Being a good guard, cat.
Ugh. Okay, I got some good depression food. And god damn it, they're just normal. They're not the double stuff. Well, what can you do?
crime of even daring to insult someone who is so superior to you, you would be thrown in a cage and fed nothing but dog food for a fucking month, just to teach you a lesson. But sadly, we live in a society where people like you get to exist. And keep in mind one thing. Not only is Alan 1,000,000 times the man that you'll never be, but if you were to die tomorrow, tens of thousands of people would be devastated. The entire fitness community would grieve. I would grieve, because we would lose a brother. If you died tomorrow, we would celebrate. Your father, your own father, would pop the champagne. He would party, rightfully so, because it would be one less roach on the surface of the earth. We would meme your death for about a week and then everyone would forget about it. This is the reality of your situation. And the fact that he was even confident enough to insult a veteran after all is done already, all of the stolen valor and the death threats to veteran, is already bad. But if you think that this is the worst thing you'll hear today in this video, you're in for a shock, because this is absolutely nothing compared to the amount of racist nonsense he's been spreading on YouTube and on the internet, because it predates his YouTube channel. So this is what we're going to do today. As I told you in the intro, I recently uncovered a text that Blaha wrote before his YouTube days, in which he explains his belief towards what he calls inferior races, and the name of this pamphlet is A Beast with a Hand. If you are a hardcore, if you're a veteran of Blahotism, you've seen that article and you've heard that name. But I don't think many people actually read the document. I remember reading it back in 2015, and I knew back then, even with my very poor English abilities, that it was bad. But rereading it today, holy fuck, it makes neo-Nazi ideology look like cheerleader school. It makes it look like fucking nothing. It is insane. So, we're going to focus on it today because apparently I'm a racist white supremacist. So let's see what that document actually contains. Because wouldn't it be super ironic if the guy who went on a very recent self-righteous tirade about how he was apparently going to end racism in the fitness community, wouldn't that be ironic if we found out that this person was actually a neo-Nazi and a white supremacist? And I know what you're thinking, that I shouldn't have to defend myself because the accusations against me are baseless. And I agree, but it gives me an excuse to fire back at him. Because naturally, if you take one look at my face, you'll get the sense that my ancestors weren't named John or Hans. Look at this. Right? As we say in French, il y a du couscous dans la salade. But again, we now in the US have people who are like 100% Latino Hispanics who get accused of being white supremacists. So wouldn't you know, maybe I'm one as well. Like, it's not possible to say just because I don't quote-unquote look like one. So let's instead look at the reasons that Blaha gave to explain why I'm apparently a Nazi. So Blaha's logic is that since I put Hitler in my recent thumbnail, because I made a video about fascism in the fitness community, then this must mean that I myself am a Nazi. Okay, interesting. So according to his logic, anyone who ever uses Nazi imagery is automatically a Nazi. It makes you a Nazi, great. Well, this means also that, for example, one Edward Bay Westerman, who is a teacher at Texas A&M that specializes on Jewish culture and the Third Reich, and also wrote a book called Drunk on Genocide, is a Nazi. Because on that book, he put a picture of someone doing a Sieg Heil, and that person looks like Hitler to me. So that's devastating because we're going to have to break the news to Dr. Westerman that he's a Nazi. That all along he thought he was just a Jew talking about the things that happened to his people, but deep down he was actually the child of the beast. He was working towards the extermination of his own people. I don't know who wants to actually volunteer to go reach out to Dr. Westerman. I'm certain that it's going to be very hard for him to listen to all of this, but hey, if Jason Blaha says it, then it must be right. I mean, he has a history of being right, so I think we should trust him 100% on this. But all jokes aside, I think you understand the reason why Jason did this. It was very clear and transparent to anyone, maybe not to him because he thinks he's a genius, but by calling me out for the thumbnail, and by what's in the thumbnail and not the content of the video, he can take it out of context, which allows him to paint me as a Nazi, because following his logic again, it's all it really takes. And I think he was hoping that people would be dumb enough to fall for this, but there's a few issues with that plan, the first one being that no one is that stupid. Like, I mean, literally no one in the fitness community is dumb enough to think that I'm a white supremacist just because I put Hitler in a thumbnail. Right? People have brains. They're able to understand the environment around them. And the only way for anyone to take these accusations at face value would be for them to trust Blaha blindly, but no one trusts him because he's a pathological liar. And also, there's something else that makes me laugh with his attempt at painting me as a Nazi. And that is that if my video was actually promoting Nazi ideology, do you really think YouTube would allow it on its platform? I mean, the video went semi-viral. It was recommended to a lot of people. You really think a billion-dollar company like YouTube, which is highly politically correct, would allow a video like this to stay up even for a few hours? It would be deleted immediately. And worse than that, more grievous, you really think that no one would call me out? Within this community, I mean, even people I associate with and that I like would call me out. I mean, Alan Thor served in the army. He would.
How often should you shower per week if you do light exercise daily?
Probably every day. Probably. So yeah, I would recommend showering every day. Thanks for the donation, though, Sean. I have a kitty here. I like how Prim Prim keeps me company. It's not right, Prim Prim. It's my sweet little kitty.
Would call me out if I ever said something like this. But then you have to also look at the people who don't like me. Look at the amount of people who have beef with me. These people dream to take me down. They would jump on the chance of calling me a Nazi. If they could use that to cancel me, they'll do it. But they took one look at your evidence, if they even paid attention to what you said, and they were like, okay, so it's nothing again? But beyond this blatant attempt at manipulating public opinion, which requires a brain, so of course it was gonna fail, what bothers me is also the fact that this is just an attempt at censoring me. And remember that this comes from a guy who used to paint himself as like a Second and First Amendment defender, a Texan badass. That didn't last long, right? Apparently as a Frenchman, I better represent the values of this flag than you do, motherfucker. But on top of that, and then you understand that I'm starting to ease you back into what's mattering today, there's also the hypocrisy of Blaha calling anyone a white supremacist when he himself is one. And as I said, unlike him, I have proof. So let's get into the proof and the meat and potatoes of this video, the racist pamphlet, a beast with a hand. Now understand that I will not be able to show you screenshots of the text, because YouTube could take the video down by saying that I'm promoting hate speech. So instead, I'm simply going to be quoting the worst passages. But what I'll do is I will put a link in 2 parts in the pinned comments, and you, if you want to access the text, again, remember it's highly disturbing, you can put these 2 pieces together, which will give you an HTML link, and that will give you access to the text. Keep in mind also that this is only one of the many pamphlets that Blaha wrote for the KKK back in the days. Yes, you heard it right. Jason Blaha used to write for the official website of the KKK, and he was actually stupid enough to not only sign these texts using his real name, but also claiming them, meaning that we have messages of him afterwards, retroactively, who confirmed that it was indeed him. This is not someone else who has the same name. No, this is 100% the person that we all know. And as for the text itself, it is basically a rewriting of the scriptures in order to justify white supremacist views, which I'm certain is going to greatly rejoice the many Christians that watch this channel. How great is it that Blaha took your Bible, took your doctrine, to twist it into his own stupid, racist, and backwards worldview. And backwards it is because, essentially in the text, what Blaha does is he attempts to explain to us that the only real descendants of Adam are Caucasians, and that everyone else on Earth isn't actually human, but instead beasts that never received the intelligence that white people were bestowed with. Here is a quote from the text that illustrates this. Can a white woman give birth to an African or Asian baby? Not unless she has been fornicating with a Negroid or Asian. This is the start, people, okay? If this shocks you, hold on to your breeches because it's going to get much worse. He continues, who unto the pastors who teach that we all come from Adam, man and beast.
How old is Prim? Any new Frank vids?
I think he's 3, might just be 2. It's either 2 or 3 years old. Don't know if there's any new Frank vids. Nope. No new Frank vids, unfortunately.
The whole hour and a half film on this, okay? When he went on Joe Rogan asked him, how many kids do you think are like on hormone therapy for trans stuff?
Thanks for the donation though, James.
Probably millions. And the answer was like, I think it was
Probably
like
millions?
Yeah, the answer was like 5,000 over like 3 years or something. I don't remember. Yeah, he was off by like 4 orders of magnitude. That
That's
type
pretty
of
crazy.
yeah, that's an unbelievable fuck up, right? Imagine you're doing you do a documentary on spaceships and somebody asks you like, you know, is Armageddon a documentary or something?
A big guy, you're saying, huh?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he was one of the big, large content people on the Daily Wire.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Or I mean, if you go back, I don't know where you stand on this. I don't want to do a political debate, but like, obviously, in my opinion, everything that was said about vaccines, everything that was said about the alternative medications, like ivermectin, all of that was completely wrong and proven wrong. Even though they made documentaries about like died suddenly and all this shit, every single thing that all the conspiracy theorists had said and all the conservative blocks and all the far right places on the internet about how vaccines were going to cause mass deaths, mass sterilizations, mass health epidemics, all of that was proven wrong. All of them are silent on it. None of them will say anything about it. They were all 100% wrong. So yeah, so I mean, like they get it wrong too, right? And confidently wrong, and they won't even acknowledge the mistakes. They just move on to the next thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, with that stuff, whenever I looked into it, like, I'd be like, oh, that, like, because to me, that's fucking super interesting, right? It's like, oh, wow, they lied about a whole vaccine or whatever. Whenever I'd look into the actual papers of, like, people responding, it'd be like, it seemed always legit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What do you think of, what do you think of Sneeko, like, becoming a flat earther?
I don't follow any of his stuff. I think Sneeko, you have to treat like Hassan treats people, no free clout. Sneeko's whole vibe now, I don't even think his fights are real. Like remember when he smoked in Bradley Martin's gym or whatever? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that seemed fake.
Yeah, I don't think any of that stuff is real. I think he's like just pearly things where he says stupid shit to just rile people up to get on a watch. I don't think he believes.
I feel like Sneeko is real though. Like, you don't think he's actually like trying to be like I
Bro,
feel like
this guy
not...
like just posted pictures of him at fucking Mecca with like tattoos, okay? And then like the next day he's like doing hot tub streams with 3 OnlyFans girls. Like, no, this guy is not real about anything. Come on, obviously.
So do you think it's all like clout, huh?
Yes,
Like
clout slash grift slash young and dumb slash yeah, of course. It's like super grifto, yeah. I don't think it was always like.
Neither come from the same source, nor are they equal in the eyes of Yahweh. This may be so, but the word tells us that we're all equal. Oh, use the common sense that Yahweh gave you, brothers and sisters. Let us observe the races, which we are to believe to be our equals. Take a long, hard look at the Negroids in Africa. Without the help of the white man in South Africa and a few other countries, they have built absolutely nothing. They have built no great cities on their own. Isn't that interesting? Wow, these are the real feelings that Blaha has in his heart. That really puts into perspective this new social justice warrior phase.
Less is more. Donate tellers. Bought some 4 milligram nicotine lozenges to see if they help with weight loss. Worried about withdrawal symptoms when I stop, like anger, irritability, frustration. I remember you raged. Connection. Also, what is a pro to riding horses for horses? Thanks. The only way horses are going to get vigorous exercise is if they get ridden. So horses benefit from vigorous weight-bearing exercise the same way humans do. So they live longer, they have lower risk of physical problems, they're going to maintain muscle mass and just general function better as they age. So that's a benefit to doing horse riding for the horses themselves. You're probably not going to get withdrawal symptoms from stopping nicotine. I've never experienced withdrawal symptoms. It's not a particularly addictive drug. But thanks for the donation. Less is more. Appreciate it.
He's going through nowadays. Okay, well, first and foremost, blatantly racist. 2, not even true. This is not even factually correct. What about Timbuktu? What about Guinea? What about Gao? What do you make of these great cities that existed before the arrival of the white man? What about the empires of Songhai? What about the kingdoms of Congo and Mali? What about the trans-Saharan gold trade that made these people immensely rich? The king of Mali was said to be one of the richest men in history. But of course, you would need to actually study these cultures to understand that, or to even know that. It's much easier to think that there was nothing going on until the white man arrived. That is what Blaha believed, because he's a fucking idiot. But understand that he is basing the entirety of his racist ideology on that very idiocy. He continues, name one technological invention that has come out of these beasts.
Let's see if I can find this.
It's me, Andrew, yes.
Do you like to be put into ovens?
I don't know what the hell that is. There's a YouTube channel literally titled Jason Blaha wrote for the KKK in 2003.
In Africa. Prior to the coming of the white man, their most complex tools were stone spears and bits of rocks. They have had over 30,000 years more time than us to develop their technology and civilizations. The Africans cannot even feed themselves. Without aid from the United States, England, France, Germany, and other Caucasian nations, while over half of the Negroids in Africa would starve to death. So let's start with the terms I'm using here, because anyone who uses the term Negroid is a racist. I don't care if it's scientifically accurate, you're a racist. Because that term is only used by people who try to make a distinction between white men and black men by claiming that one is actually human and superior, and the other one is nothing but a beast. As for the rest, the fact that he times and times again likens black people to beasts is despicable, of course, but understand the hypocrisy of it, right? Because if someone writes this, with this level of hatred and vitriol towards black people, you think they can change? Like, let's be honest. Do you think it's possible to change from this? I don't buy it. So to see Blaha nowadays, who is LARPing as a social justice warrior who is going to stand up against racism in the fitness community, you wrote this. Where is the apology for this? The text is still out there. You cannot lecture anyone else, regardless of the reason.
Let me see if I can find this. No, Jason Block, KKK Manifesto, KKK Essay. Can't fucking find anything.
Hey poo poo head, it's me again, remember me? I challenge you to debate and you score na boo boo you can't catch me lol you broccoli soup boy stew carrot top poo poo head.
I do remember, and I never forget, and I never forgive. Thanks for the donation, dipshit kid. Yeah, I want to see where the actual manifesto is.
And the death threat to veteran is already bad. But if you channel. So this is what we're going to do today. As I told you in the intro, I recently uncovered a text that Blaha wrote before his YouTube days, in which he explains his belief towards what he calls inferior races. And the name of this pamphlet is A Beast with a Hand.
Okay.
Roshad, I'm so fucking depressed, I wish I was gay. Any advice?
Maybe try like sucking dick or start off with some gay porn. That might help. Appreciate the donation, Caden. So this is the pamphlet. Says by Jason Blaha.
If you are a hardcore, if you're a veteran of Blahotism, cannot lecture anyone else, regardless of the reason, until you address this. Because this is hatred. And it wasn't that long ago. And that's not the only thing. Because this is a text that was for the KKK, but even on his YouTube channel and on forums, Blaha has also a long history of disparaging black people online. So for example, Blaha has a long documented history, of using the N-word both on forums and on Facebook. For people who remember, back when he used to have beef with vegan gains, he would openly call vegan gains the N-word on Facebook. That doesn't sound very tolerant to me, it doesn't sound very anti-racist to me. And of course, he often did this behind stock accounts, but because for some reason he was stupid enough to reveal.
I don't recall Blaha ever calling me the N-word. I never encountered him on Facebook, though, so I never chatted with him. I've received tons and tons of messages with people calling me the N-word. Like, one of them might have been Blaha, but I haven't seen any evidence for it. Funny how he mentioned me.
The full list of them, of all of his split identities, we know it was him, because he told us it was him. So, we know now that all of these posts that contain all of this racism was indeed typed by his own sausage fingers. And I want to inject a side note here, because I'm certain that some of you might say, oh, this is trolling. That's not trolling. When you write an article for the KKK, you're not trolling, okay? This is way beyond trolling. And two, you have to keep in mind that all of this happened when Blaha was in his 30s. We're not talking about a teenager who said the N-word once to be edgy. This is a pattern of behavior that he carried onto adulthood and that still exists today. He has not changed. Now, he's only getting better at hiding his racism, but I don't buy for a fucking second that he doesn't feel the same way inside. And again, to demonstrate my points, let's look at these forum posts that come in two different shapes, I guess. The first where he just insults black people, and the second where he LARPs as a black man. And these ones are very interesting as well, you'll see. So the first example I have is an account called Tiger88. And 88 naturally stands for SS. This is the same guy that called me a Nazi, but used Nazi imagery and symbolism in his fucking nicknames on the internet. And on this account, he naturally uses the N-word as much as he can. And he also adds at some point, gratuitously, a lot of fucking Asians here. Zeeperheads, which I suppose is a slur. I wasn't even aware that this slur existed. But you'll see that Blaha doesn't just hate black people. He hates everyone. Everyone who is not white, he openly hates. But we'll get to the Asian hate later. With that very same account, Tiger88, he also posted, Long Beach sucks a fat one. Naggers everywhere. You understand that by naggers, I mean the N-word. I'm not going to pronounce it. I'm censoring myself because I don't want to say that word, but yes, he openly used it. And he used it a lot because I also have 2 more posts from the same account where he comments on local news and he says, more dumb naggers at it again. And also, and people wonder why blacks are stereotyped dumb ass naggers. Now, some of you might tell me that this could be because you had bad experiences with black people. That would already not excuse this level of hatred and racism, but also
less is more, Donny Tiller. So where is the line drawn for riding horses? Is it ethical to ride horses in horse races? No. Or is it only okay in horse sanctuaries? So if you own a horse, just recreational riding is fine so long as you don't use pain compliance devices and you train the horse to give consent. Then horse riding is fine with those, like at least those 2 conditions met. In hindsight, weight-bearing exercise makes sense. All the while he says, you never quit Nick lozenges to get withdrawal, ban again, lil. I wasn't taking them for almost a month because I literally just forgot. So, I think after 3 weeks, you're going to experience withdrawals. Assuming, you know, you've developed I don't care. Fuck.
Or being a...
Thanks for the donation, though.
Or dumb, no house, no car, no wife, no teeth. Anyone? Does that remind you of someone here? Zipperheads. We announce it. I'm censoring myself because I don't want to say that word, but yes, he openly used it. And he used it a lot because I also have 2 more posts from the same account where he comments on local news and he says, more dumb naggers at it again. And also, and people wonder why blacks are stereotyped dumb ass naggers. Now, some of you might tell me that this could be because you had bad experiences with black people.
Do you ever ride your horse?
No. I do not. Jake can't be ridden. He has too much anxiety, and he has a condition in his hooves where it might be dangerous to ride him, so we don't ride Jake. He just does horse stuff on his own. So you also have to keep in mind the sort of psychological and physical issues a horse might have, so we don't ride Jake. Thanks for the donation, James.
That would already not excuse this level of hatred and racism, but also we know for a fact it wasn't true. He lived in a very privileged part of Texas, surrounded by white people. But where it gets really funny is the fact that the reason why Blaha hates black people, which again, he knows nothing about, he doesn't know any black person, is because apparently they're all criminals, poor and dumb. But doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that ring a bell? Criminal, poor, dumb, no house, no car, no wife, no teeth. Anyone? Does that remind you of someone? It's him. He hates people that he doesn't even fucking know, and he injects stereotypes into a situation, but he's talking about himself. It's the typical thing he always does where he accuses other people of being him, of doing what he does, and then he hates on them. What does that mean? What does it say about him? Well, that he hates himself, naturally, because...
I liked Blaha back in 2013 to 2014/2015 era. He might have been cringe and insecure lying about being in the military but seemed to give genuine training advice and used to be vegan. Didn't like him when he began to stir up controversy for attention.
Well, he was never vegan. He just pretended to be vegan because apparently his ex-wife was vegan, and in order to try to save their relationship, he bullshitted about it. His training advice used to be better in general, but it was still not particularly good. He's an idiot. But thanks for the donation, Sean. Is my mic like... I think the thing adjusted. Yeah. What the fuck, dude? That is better. I think we'll put it there.
That's exactly that. The guy flunked out of community college. He's living on welfare. The guy collects welfare checks every single month, and he lives in Section 8 housing, and has a criminal record, and he lives with a criminal roommate. A criminal roommate who, by the way, he is absolutely terrified of. There is this hilarious live stream snippet from like a...
What type of horse is Jake and how many hands?
He's an American paint, and he doesn't have any hands. He has 4 hooves. But thanks for the donation, James.
A month ago where he's talking very like softly in the mic, and you can hear the roommate come home, and you can see the panic on his face, and he's like, okay, I have to cut the stream, because I don't think that she allows him to stream when she's home because it annoys her. So the tough guy, the alpha male, is being ordered around by a female, but I mean, she killed a man, so he must be terrified of her, of course. But let's get back to the topic at hand, because as I said, for Bro to make fun of black people, the black people in his head, for being ghetto or uneducated is beyond hypocritical, because he has no fucking leg to stand on. He's all of these things. This is a level of delusion that far exceeds mental illness. And if you think that this was limited to the forum post, not at all. It was also present on his YouTube channel, although it was, of course, very much less violent, but the racism was still present. So if you remember, there was this classic Menti episode where he and Moon Cookie were reacting to a video by Live to Look Good Naked, I think, where the guy went around and showed pictures of shirtless fitness influencers to women, and the women said which ones they liked. And of course, no one liked Blaha's body because he looks like a melted candle, he looks disgusting. And black women were especially disgusted by his appearance, and that made him extremely mad. So what he did is, he criticized them for apparently being too ghetto to find him attractive. So essentially, if I were to translate from racist speech, what he meant was that black women are too stupid to find an intellectual such as him attractive. Of course, they're only attracted to thugs. The thing is that you're not an intellectual. You're a fucking moron. You have a high school diploma. You're a dummy. So for you to call anyone else dumb... And also, the woman that was with him at the time was Moon Cookie, a meth head. She was like an hairdresser, I think. She was a fucking moron as well. The two went very well together. But in his head, for some reason, because he's white, he's sophisticated, and he floats above the people that he calls inner city, you live in the
inner city. Magical sanctuaries for mice donated $2. Would you ever visit this rat temple in India? All hail the white rats.
These aren't your average run-of-the-mill rats, though. They're sacred. Why? Well, Karni Mata was a female Hindu sage that, according to legend, lived for 151 years. When her stepson or clansman's son...
Hands refers to a horse's height. The height is measure from the level ground to the hindquarters.
Oh, I have no idea. Hey, Jasmine. How many hands is Jake? I guess she doesn't know either. Yeah, we have no idea. He's a fairly big horse. Oh, he's small? Okay, well, he's big, but not for a horse. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for the donation though, James. Appreciate it.
Laxman drowned in a pond. She made a deal with the god Yama to bring him back to life. He refused at first, but then changed his mind, allowing Laxman and all of Karnimata's male children to be reincarnated as rats. There are over 20,000 resident rats, otherwise known as kabas. Of the 20,000, 4 or so are believed to be white, manifestations of Karnimata herself and her sons. If you see one, it's said to bring good luck. Worshippers bring prasad, special food offerings, in order to coax the white ones out. It's also said that if a rat touches your foot, it too will bring good luck. So I tried. Right foot, no luck. Then left foot, still no luck. Must have been an off day. For FarEastAdventureTravel.com, this
I don't think that's any dirtier than anywhere else in India, so sure. Those look like some nice rats, too, gotta say. I like rats.
Take a 30-kilometer ride towards south of Bikaner in India's northwestern province, who is believed to be an incarnation of the Hindu goddess Durga. Popularly known as the Temple of Rats, this temple was built in the early 20th century.
I ordered a fleshlight and when it arrived I realized that it has a big pair of balls attached and I fucked it anyways. Am I gay now?
Yes, you're gay, but it's okay to be gay. Thanks for the donation, Alex.
Stepping into the temple courtyard, you feel like you've landed into a rat's paradise. Rats that scurry about the temple will scare first-timers, but devotees who come often to the temple feed and protect the privileged rodents.
Ooh, there's a white rat.
They don't even consider them as rats, but as little kids of the goddess Karni.
We don't call it rat over here, we call kabas. These are not rats, there is nothing to worry about. They won't bite you.
Temple premises. Temple volunteers work around the clock to take care of them. The rodents are fed grains, milk, coconut shells, and anything or everything they like. As per a popular legend among locals, Goddess Karni asked the death god Yama to give life to one of his devotees. When the death god refused, the goddess reincarnated him as a rat. Since then, rats at the temple are believed to be children of the goddess Karni. Here
Wonder how that place smells. Because rats can be stinky.
they have the distinction of living in the home of a deity who is believed to have remedial properties to cure even epidemics such as the plague caused by rats.
Yeah, I'd visit that place.
Musk's exposure ultimately to Twitter going bankrupt. Like, how much money is he actually looking to lose? Because it feels like he's kind of like giving up, or I can never tell. I say that, but I can't tell. Ask Earth. Hold on. He forgot that advertisement runs the world. If he doesn't need the money or care about being a profitable company, he just wants to be a new form of digital free speech, then he's on the right track, I guess. Okay. ZZ, no, I don't care about the loner works fit or me being brainwashed or some weird fan guy, okay?
Inner city, you live in section 8, right? It would be one thing to be racist because you're some like big shot white guy who has a ton of money and like a massive mansion and you look down on minorities. You're an asshole for this, but you do what you do. Right? It's your prerogative. You think what you think. But here, he doesn't even have that. He's looking at people as below him when these people far exceed his value as a human. But let's get back to the KKK writings. He continues by saying, "What of blacks in modern day America? As we all know, they originally came over on slave ships. Do slavers just grab any N-word they saw and ship them to America? Of course not. History tells us that the slavers elected only the strongest and healthiest of the tribesmen they found. These were the top 10%, the finest men and women that Africa had to offer. Once they got them on the slave ship, the living conditions were so horrible that only half of them survived the voyage across the Atlantic. Care to guess which half? The strongest half. Only the elite of the elite made it to the shores of its continent. Once the slaves made it to this land, they were selectively bred for strength, endurance, and intelligence. Our ancestors bred an elite race of Negroids who should then at the very least be our equals. First and foremost, the fact that he can talk so callously about slavery, which is one of the greatest tragedy of human history, shows the content of his character. He doesn't seem to feel bad about these people who are stolen away from their land, who died en masse on the boats, who are treated like animals and beasts, because he believes them to be animals and beasts. So for him, it's perfectly normal. But then you have the genetic discussion here, where he essentially claims that the fact that black people in America were not able to do as well as white people is the proof of their inherent inferiority. Are we just going to ignore the fact that these people are slaves for 400 years? Your people came in with money from Europe and you still managed to be a fucking nobody. There are people, black people, whose ancestors were slaves who are doing better than you. So what does it say about you, Blaha? Well, it says you're a fucking loser and you're a fuck up. But beyond that, anyone who knows anything about slavery also knows that this is completely uneducated, because this is not true. All that he said here is completely false. The people who were selected for slavery were sold into slavery, a lot of the time by the tribal leaders that ruled Africa, that collaborated with the colonizer. They sold people from tribes and cities and villages that they conquered. These were not the top 10%. These were not the elites of Africa. It's completely backwards to think that there would be nobility. But again, it shows that he truly thinks that when white people arrived to Africa, it was like no hierarchy, no kingdom, no nothing. Just people walking around eating dirt. But you know, he's not the only one who thinks like this. Many racists think like this, which only really goes to show their own stupidity. But the thing that pisses me off the most is all of this our equal, we did this, we did that. You did nothing. You did nothing. And your ancestors might have done these things, whether you like these things or not, but you as a person, the glory of European empires, it wasn't you, right? You are the turd that came afterwards. You are the residue of that quote-unquote greatness. You are absolutely nothing. So let us compare, to prove that I'm absolutely right, let us compare Blaha's accomplishment, again, this superior white man from a superior race, let's compare him to these apparently inferior races. So, if I look, for example, at the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, it shows that the average yearly salary for an African American male in 2020 was $40,000. How much does Blaha make? Beyond welfare doesn't count, it's not income. How much does Blaha make? If he makes 20k a year, it's already the end of the wood. So you're getting out-earned by people who are inferior to you. Very interesting. Then
From what I've surmised so far, this Blaha fella is an exceptional person. Would you agree?
Exceptionally stupid. Exceptionally racist. Yes. Thanks for the donation, Anal Hypertrophy.
I would be fine with being a slave as long as my owner was a hot emo chick and she forced me to provide sexual favors for her. As long as that was included, I would be fine with doing her chores and housework for free as well.
I mean, if I had to be a slave, yeah, that would be preferable. I've always wanted a sex slave. That'd be so hot. Just like having a girl on a leash, keeping her naked all day and stuff. That'd be pretty sweet. Thanks for the donation though, Ben.
You also see that 22% of African Americans have a college diploma that you don't fucking have. So all of these people are already better than you. And unlike you, many of them came from an underprivileged background. They didn't have parents who were willing to pay for their studies, they had to find their way through the system. You had everything given to you and you still barely managed to graduate high school. But unsurprising, because who else would write that type of article but a fucking idiot and someone who felt that life?
Magical sanctuaries for dogs donated $2. Would you visit these temples for doggos better than the religion of peace that degrades dogs and slaughters animals? Don't know if I'd call that a miracle, but those are dogs being dogs. Oh my god. This dog is blessing them. That's amazing.
Giga Chad Quinn stuff mogs and destroys vegan gains.
I will take a look at that in a minute. Thanks for the donation, Ballsack. That's amazing.
Please let me be your sex slave. Pretty please with cum on top.
I will consider it. Thanks for the donation, Lionheart. Wow. That's pretty amazing. Thanks for the donation, Magical Sanctuaries for Dogs. So what is this? If your boyfriend can't bench 3 plates, you're dating a girl. Giga Chad Quinn Scott. Moggs destroys vegan gains. So... pretty sure I'm stronger than this guy.
If I died, would you miss me?
Isn't it sad that the way Blaha characterizes the treatment of blacks is now the same way you talk about Muslim people? What's it like to be an Islamophobe? You and him should eat yogurt together and justify killing those dirty savages and their children.
I don't think the way I talk about Muslim people is the same that same way that Blaha talks about black people, but thanks for the donation, Dum Dum.
The Cosmic Skeptic Ben Shapiro debate is live, in case you didn't know. On a related note, I never pull out and have high ejaculate volume, so get ready for this load. It's salty and steamy and ready for that black ass. Gag me, gag me, gag me, gag me, gag me.
Alright, well, thanks for telling me that. Might watch that later. Thanks for the donation, Creamy Poop in My Soup. Yeah, I can't do this. Alright.
He continues, "We have given these black beasts everything. The N-word blames us because they cannot achieve what we have done. You've achieved nothing. They blame it on racism and accuse Wiley of keeping them down. Blaha accuses everyone in his life of his fucking failures. He's incapable of taking responsibility. Again, he's talking about himself here. No amount of affirmative action will ever make us equal, because it is Yahweh who created the inherent differences between man and beast. There you have it. Like, do I need more proof to show you that Blaha really thinks black people are animals? It's not a meme, it's not a joke. He believed that. And paradoxically, he also likes to pretend being black online, which only goes to reveal how little he knows about the people and the culture that he detests.
What's going on?
Meow meow. Why don't you get more pellets?
You think he wants more pellets?
Because every single time I've caught him doing that, LARPing as a black person, he's essentially doing the equivalent of a minstrel show. You know, the blackface, back in the days where white people used to grim themselves as black and act like monkeys? That's exactly what he does. And the point of these shows is the exact same point that he's trying to prove here when he does it, which is that black people are grotesque subhumans who only exist for the entertainment of white people. And this is when we get into the more laid-back part of that rant. I'm sorry if I'm getting heated. It's the accusations towards me I don't really care about, because if you're the type of person to believe that without proof, I don't really care about impressing or proving anything to you. But the fact that this person was allowed for years to make videos on the internet, to spread his hate and saw zero consequences, that pisses me off. But
bitch.
All right, well, thank you for that, Cat Daddy. Appreciate the donation.
let's get into more tepid waters. Let's get into things that I've promised for a long time, because I've told you for a long time that I had these posts where Blaha pretends to be black and where he raps, or he creates raps. Well, there we are. This is when I'm finally going to reveal these posts to you. So for example, one of Jason's favorite game to play was to post in Ebonics to make fun of black people, because in his head, black people cannot speak proper English.
Nice butt.
Again, that's you. You make mistakes every single sentence. You speak one language and it's the easiest language to learn, and you still are so dumb you can't get it right. But here is one of the quotes from the many posts he's made in Ebonics. This nagger know what be go on. Restia crackers be straight up foos fronted and shit. Motherfucker.
Yeah.
So essentially, in Blaha's head, every single black person acts like a character from the Boondocks. Here's another one. She dog. I was rolling on the hard streets of Lennox Watts in Culver City, baby. I may be a cracker, but I ain't frontin' shit, yo. My armies and I was hanging slow and low, baby. Incomprehensible. I've literally never, in my 5-6 years in the US, heard a single black person talk like this. Not one. So again, all a fabrication in his head. I guess he watched too much MTV. He thinks that the life of a black man is like a rap clip. He thinks that this is reality. I don't know, but it's possible. Keep in mind, this is a white guy who never interacted with black people before and somehow still manages to hate them based on nothing. He also, at some point in one of his posts, claimed to play Bones with local thugs at lunch. What is this? Is this a movie? Is this Prison Break? Bones? Black people don't play Bones. Like, maybe 30 years ago, I guess. They might play dice, from what I heard, but again, that's a stereotype. Again, also, local thugs. He claimed that he worked for a company that would hire thugs to clean up.
Daily Wire made a fucking anti-trans movie about dudes playing basketball called Lady Ballers. The trailer is so unfunny it honestly made me nauseous. But the best part is there's a scene that shows Shapiro's obsession with big black cock. It's so obvious.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. It does not look funny at all. If you've ever read Ben Shapiro's book True Allegiance, he does have a weird obsession with big black dudes. It's really strange. He is a bit closeted, I would say. Thanks for the donation, though, Adam.
The streets? Who's gonna believe that? It's straight out of a fucking movie. You know, for
Cute Gains donated $2. Sorry to interrupt, Sexy Gains, but you might like this. Let me take a look. It's a monkey and a kitty.
That's a cat.
No, he's grooming a cat.
He's grooming a cat.
She's taking the kitty. Says, this is my kitty. That's nice.
How to keep that?
Monkey likes bothering the cat. Monkey bite. Well, thank you for that, Cute Gains. Appreciate the
For the fact
donation.
that Blaha is the type of person that if you put him in a group of black people, especially black men, he's gonna melt.
Have you seen this shit? Most unhinged rap I've ever heard in my life. You should get easel on Kick or Keep.
I keep telling you, the worst thing you can do is think you're the smartest person in the room and talk to yourself. Because now you got two crazy people talking. And I keep telling you that. These dudes ain't trying to hurt you. You're making it happen. You're making that happen. You in a fucked up situation. And you need to start knowing that so you can act right and you can do what you need to do and move on to your family.
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
He was a professor, ended up in jail as a lawyer, Indiana left-winger. Could have been the next Peter Singer. Every day compares himself to MLK, says he'll die for the cause, still wants to get away like OJ. He started out as a revolutionary on MySpace. Ran for mayor like Harvey Dent, but now he's behind bars like Two-Face. He keeps it rolling. His every crime is committed on camera. If you donate to support him, he's scamming you. Not a cult leader. Animal rights, Jordan Peterson. Owns a car compound rent-free for a follower living in immersion. The average activist is a high school dropout. He dropped a bomb, now they pay for the fallout. Fully horizontal, centralized shit. The money is in one bank account with his sister's name on it. The money in the fame, power, and respect. Bad news, bro, it's jail that comes next.
I'm pro-Muslim, but anti-thug. We need our Abrahamic faith, lest the hedonistic pagans and worse prevail, and we need to stand united behind it. And that is why I'm pro-Muslim, but anti-thug.
The Fed's on his case, but pretty women too, like a hero. They follow where he goes, well the money's in the fame. His life is a chase. Donations in the millions, teenage bitches wearing blood and chains. A whole movement that exists just for one man's ego. A philosophy of equality he's quick to forego. In school he was weird. No, he never had no female. And he's admired and feared. Big titties coming in email. He was a vegan with no pay. Taiwanese DNA competing with Buckrock in California. This ain't new.
Okay, that's about as much as I can handle of that. Yeah, Isel's fucking unhinged, bro. Thanks for the donation, though, Quest. I would love to see Isel on Kicker Keep. That'd actually be pretty fucking funny.
He's gonna turn into a pool of sweat. He would fucking panic. He'd be like, no, and the dudes, the brothers around like, what the fuck is wrong with him? But I would pay to see that, personally. Like an equivalent of Blacked, but with Bloho in the middle instead of a chick, that would be price. Just to see how inept he is at social interactions with the people that he claimed to despise so much. But again, in his fantasies, he was adopted by them and they called him Jasper, the nice phantom or whatever the fuck. Like he was white, but yo, I hang with the crew, yo, I'm part of the crew, yo. You're part of fucking nothing. White people, black people, Asians, we've all agreed on one fact, and that is that you're a piece of shit and that no one wants you. No one claims you. White people don't claim you either, bro. And all of that might sound very funny because I'm trying to twist it into a roast to alleviate the tension a bit, but keep in mind that these words have consequences. Bloho acted on this. Bloho held 2 black men at gunpoint at some point. That is serious. That could have led to death, which I wouldn't be surprised by because keep in mind also that this is a person who on Facebook, on his public Facebook, stated that every single black person who ever got shot by police deserved it. So the fact that he dared to cite Minister Farrakhan in his fucking KKK pamphlet says a lot about how fucking stupid he is. Because does he even know who Farrakhan is? Does he know that Farrakhan is black and a pillar of the black community? And this is just one of the many idiotic statements of that pamphlet. Again, I only selected the things that were the most racist, but it's a treasure trove of retardation. There's no other way to say it. Which is why if you are ready to swallow all of this disgusting smut, I recommend you read it because some of it is actually pretty funny. Like
going to do a nap stream?
No, I'm not tired, so I'm just depressed today. But thanks for the donation, James. Appreciate it.
Like, for example, this gem, where Bloho tells us that if one takes the time to do a minute amount of research, one can easily conclude that only the Caucasoid race or part Caucasoid mongrels have the ability to blush. So he constructed a narrative in his head where to be able to claim yourself as human, you have to be Caucasian. And the way to prove that you are Caucasian and therefore human is that you can blush. Well, if that's the case, Bloha, I have good news. Every single human can fucking blush. Black people can blush. You just don't see it because their skin tone is darker. He's so fucking dumb that he thought that this was a gotcha moment. Like, oh, black people don't blush. Guess we can just discriminate against them now because they're not human. Fucking imbecile. Or you also have this one.
What happened to make you so blue?
Prim. Yeah. I just woke up like this. What are you doing, Prim? Yeah, I just woke up depressed. There's no particular reason behind it. I just woke up like this. Thanks for the donation, though, James. Appreciate it. I do have a cat here, though. This cat helps. It's a good cat. It's got a cat butt. Got a cat butt. What's going on, Prim?
This one is mwah. For anyone who studied physics, you're gonna love this. If you had an entire planet covered with water and a great wind blew across it, certainly the water would move, but it would go somewhere else. And water from the other direction would quickly fill the void. This happens constantly in the oceans. Well, no, Bloho, this doesn't happen constantly in the oceans. He concludes this statement by saying that this is why we get waves. He was 30 back then. 30. He really thought that waves were created.
Especially when you and Prim's heartbeats match.
Yes. We are definitely in sync. Thanks for the donation, James. Appreciate it.
Solely by the wind. He thought that if you go on top and the water and you go, you can create waves just like that. He doesn't seem to understand that there's such a thing as gravitational pulls that influence tides, which are a major reason why waves even occur in the first place, in which directions the wave go. Also the fact that waves are energy transfer, this is basic physics. So there is a perpetual motion at hand, it's a closed circle. Also the fact that there's something called subsurface ocean currents. There's something going on under the water, bro. It's not just the top or the wind blows. The wind is only one of these factors. This is basic shit. This is roughly like a third grade level of understanding of physics. And yet, he wasn't even able to grasp that simple of a fucking concept. In his 30s, this person gets to vote. He gets to own guns. You understand how grievous the situation is? And what I like the most about this entire pamphlet is the fact that he's trying to use a vocabulary that sounds smart, like my brothers, my sisters, this is simple if you only look at the facts. And then he goes on to say the stupidest shit, like the juxtaposition of the two is
I have a possible idea why you're depressed. I've noticed whenever you go through periods of success on YouTube, you feel good for a few days, and then it's followed by depression, anger, or both. Is it possibly a cycle you think you might go through?
I don't think so. Like, nothing's really changed, so I think I just have bad days occasionally. Thanks for the donation, though, Obsessed Bimbo.
But let's get back to the racism, because Jason doesn't just stop at black people. No. He hates everyone. So he, of course, also hates Asians and Native Americans. I quote, "These Mongoloid people had been there for thousands of years before us. What had they accomplished in those thousands of years? When we arrived, they were using tools of stone and bone. These primitive people worshipped pagan gods and failed to build civilizations beyond that of small tribal units." So essentially, this is Bloho excusing the genocide of the Native Americans because apparently they were inferior, so it was fine for white people to come in and ravage them and take their land. And let's not even get into the discussion of is it correct to think this way. What I really want to insist on is how little he researched these civilizations and cultures, because one, South America had civilizations, they had massive empires, they had cities bigger than Europe, they had technological advancements that were not available in Europe, which I know is not taught in America, but if you did even a smidge of research, you would know. And then if we look at the natives had a complex religion, they had complex courts, they were not just pagan worshippers, they were also an oral culture, which explains why so much of it is lost nowadays. But I also want to insist on the fact that the war between the colonizer and the natives lasted for hundreds of years. If they were really so inferior, it wouldn't have been that long. America defeated the Nazis in what, 3 years? The natives held back. They used the technology that they took from the natives to fight, and they won many battles. The reason why they lost ultimately is because they were fighting against an entire fucking continent.
What do you think of this?
Let me take a look.
You won't fuck me up for the hell of it.
Nigga, what?
Oh my.
All right, well, don't really think much of that. Thanks for the donation, though, Timeless Enema.
Of people who were sending waves and waves of people. So eventually they cracked. And after that, you can side with them and say that they should be given back their land, which you can argue, or you can say, well, they played the game and they lost. Again, that's fine. That's not the question at hand. The question is, who the fuck is Blaha to give his fucking opinion on any of this when he understands nothing? But he continues, because it's not enough to hate natives, he also has to hate Asians as a whole. The other...
If it were still daylight, you could do a physically challenging bike ride.
Nope. It is way too snowy and cold out. I do have a cardio machine now that I have been using, but yeah, I can't ride outside right now. It's way too cold and it's snowy and icy. Thanks for the donation though, James.
Branch of the Mongoloid race, likewise, Mongoloid race, like Negroid race, don't use these words. I don't care if science is okay with it. Say Asian and black, because if you use these terms, you're already announcing what you're going to say next. Like no one ever has said, oh yeah, those Mongoloids, they're great people. Never. I continue. The other branch of the Mongoloid race has fared much better in Asia, and so claim that they are superior to us. This is probably because our scores have been mongrelized, and our once Christian society has been mixed with false religions and antichrist Jewish teachings. Interesting. Look who's Nazi now, huh? This has certainly negatively affected our productivity as a people. But as Asia surpassed us, my friend, take a long hard look at Asia. Culturally, China has bred a society of slaves. This is what our competitive advantage is. They can produce cheap slave labor to mass-produce goods. They haven't really caught up with the white race, or have they? So, once again, the typical anti-Asian drivel that they're bugs, they have no creativity, they're just slaves. Look, if you heard one racist talk about Asians, you've heard them all, they all repeat the same things. And times again, it's also people who are underachievers and fucking losers in the white culture and the white countries that they love so much, exactly like Blaha. Because essentially what we have here is a man who somehow managed...
It has been a while since we last saw you do a workout stream.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing some more workout streams in the afternoon. Might do some soon. Thanks for the donation though, James.
Of ending up poor and...
Bitch. I know why you're depressed, bitch. You got a big fucking dick, bitch. It's so big you suck on it, bitch. Then you wake up the next morning questioning your straighthood, bitch. I bet you swallowed, didn't you, bitch? Yuga chaga hippie motorfucker.
Yeah, that's why I'm depressed. Think you figured it out. Thanks for the donation, Cat Daddy.
Uneducated, despite coming from a very privileged background, who is hating on people who within one generation managed to go from working class to upper class. Because that's Asian immigrants in most countries. Dad comes in, mom comes in, they both are working class, they're part of the proletariat, they have no money whatsoever, they have no support system, they bust their fucking ass, and their daughters and their sons become doctors, they become lawyers. They explode. Their social dynamics, their ability to rise through the ranks is unmatched. And in a sense, Blaha's ability is also unmatched, but he did the opposite. He did a reverse Asian immigration.
Are those Lay's chips vegan?
Yes, they do not contain any animal products, so they are vegan. Thanks for the donation, James.
Immigrant journey where he managed in one generation to go from upper class to completely impoverished and on welfare. That is impressive in its own right, although I would argue, Blaha, that Asian immigrants are immensely superior to you on every single metric. I would trade Blaha for an Asian immigrant in a heartbeat, because between the work ethic, the intelligence, and the family-orientated culture, all of which Blaha knows nothing about and lacks entirely, yeah, they place themselves far above a loser like you. Write a text about that instead of talking about, oh, the white race, the white race. If you're the white race, then I refuse to call myself white. Count me in as something else. If there are Asian people in the comments, please let me know. Can I join your camp? Because if I can't, I'm stuck with Blaha, and I don't want to be stuck with Blaha. Please answer as soon as possible. But let's sum it up, because again, all of that started with Jason Blaha accusing me of being a white supremacist. So let's sum everything we just discussed up. A man who called interracial marriages fornication with a beast, who repeatedly used the N-word to refer to black people, and who claimed that the numbers were overstated big time when talking about the Holocaust, that very man is calling me a Nazi. That would almost be funny if it wasn't so fucking delusional. And now here's a warning for the people who some reason still associate with Blaha. You are willingly collaborating with a white supremacist who wrote for the KKK. And the issue is that he's really fucking stupid, because he was dumb enough.
Do you think some people are just depressed? No external factors? I have a friend who just glooms me the fuck out whenever we hang out, and he's well off. With what I'm going through, work stress, I'm trying to manage his negative influence. Is that bad? Would you recommend me taking nicotine for anxiety? I'm currently on Lexapro and I've heard taking ashwagandha helps with stress as well, so started taking 2 tablets of that as well. If it doesn't work, I'm thinking of trying nicotine since it helps you.
I would recommend taking traditional anti-anxiety meds because they're pretty effective, but if you want to try take nicotine, you can. It's over the counter. But I'd recommend taking anxiety meds for anxiety. They'd probably work better. Thanks for the donation, Simple Biology in a Nutshell. So, Mola, if you have a friend that's making you super depressed and you're having trouble yourself, I would just avoid that friend, at least for the time being, until you're a bit more mentally well. Because there's no sense giving yourself more stress. But thanks for the donation, Mola. Appreciate it.
I am Blaha's favorite N-word.
Probably not, James. I doubt it. I don't think he has a favorite N-word. Thanks for the donation, James.
To sign these fucking texts with his name. And the thing is that it's not just his secret that he's bad at keeping. He is bad at keeping everyone's secret. So, for every one of you that associates with him, I have bad news. Because he couldn't keep his fat mouth shut, I now have a ton of information about you. So for example, I know that one of you got arrested in North America for sale and possession of a banned substance, namely steroids, and had to flee. But there's still a warrant out for your ass. So I'd be very careful if I were you. There's also another one of you losers who apparently got in trouble for soliciting minors for prostitution. Which now explains why you like Blaha so much. You both like to molest kids. Likewise, there is a warrant out for your ass in Eastern Europe. And now I understand why you don't leave your house. It's because you know damn well that there are people looking for you. But you know, when I found out of this information, I wasn't surprised. Because the only type of people who would associate willingly with Blaha.
Hey, Jasmine. Did you see the, you know how Sverige paid for that acid attack against Luna? Yeah. Did you see her after the acid attack? Yeah.
Are you still doing meditation sessions?
I am. I'm still doing meditation.
Jesus.
Thanks for the donation, James. Well, she almost lost this arm, and she couldn't breastfeed anymore because a lot of it went on her chest.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty fucked up, huh?
So, is there a warrant for his arrest?
Yep, he is wanted by Interpol currently, apparently.
He's going to fucking jail.
Yep. Yep. His luck is running out.
So the first time he had a guy, like, paid for it, he failed, right? And then he did it again.
Well, he tried to kill her with the acid, but yeah, and then apparently the Molotov cocktail the guy threw, it went into his kid's bedroom.
Whose kids?
Sverige had a kid with Luna.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did the kid die?
No, apparently not. From what I heard.
It's not surprising that he tried to kill someone.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think I would like to hang out with you. What are you gonna do in bed? Are you gonna poop in bed? Are you gonna poop in bed?
No, I don't think so.
Just have a little poop in bed. Who did the acid attack? It was his current girlfriend's ex-boyfriend, apparently. Pretty insane.
When did it happen?
Like a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago now.
Wow, it's a lot.
Maybe it was a year or two.
He's still not caught?
No. He fled to Asia right after it happened.
Leave the bed pooping to Amber Heard.
Okay, I'll leave the bed pooping to Amber Heard. Thanks for the donation, James. Are you taking off your shirt? Show me your boobs. Come on. Want to see your boobs. Think I'm going to spend some quality time with Jasmine. So, I'll just end the stream early. I'm feeling pretty goddamn bad, so I think I'll just try to take it easy. But hope you guys had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Should be feeling better tomorrow, so, you know, poopy doopy. Should be on around the usual time, too.
Is Jasmine going to show her boobs on camera?
No, that would be against YouTube TOS. But thanks for the donation, James.
Bitch.
Thank you for that, Cat Daddy. Appreciate it. So yeah, should be around should be streaming around the normal time tomorrow. So we'll see you all then. Sweet dreams.